Hello and welcome. This is Evacuation to the Manor House.
On today's show, our wartime evacuees find themselves in sheep poo.
Oh my... No! I'm not doing that!
1, 2, 1, 2. Come on, faster. Pick it up, pick it up.
The boys have a hard job preparing for the enemy.
Should we tell the Jerry's not to bomb us because we've only got half-full sandbags?
Yeah.
And who needs enemies when Miss Young is your teacher?
Would it be by any chance the silence of Phil?
No, it was in my head just a second ago.
We've taken this motley crew of modern street-savvy children back to the 1940s.
This country is at war with Germany.
To protect our youngsters in the Second World War, over 1 million city children were evacuated to the countryside. And the luckiest ones got to stay in some very fancy houses indeed, just like our Prado Hall. It's been a week since these present-day evacuees arrived in wartime Britain, and it's not exactly been home from home.
Stupid. I hate it, I hate it, I hate it.
Life downstairs with the servants has certainly put them through their paces. But it's been worth it for a taste of the good stuff upstairs. Then again, living in wartime was never going to be plain sailing.
Thank goodness we live in the 21st century.
From missing home
Hope you are doing well. We are all proud of you.
to 40s food.
That's disgusting. You're not supposed to eat that, that's just wrong.
Our evacuees have had it tough, and their second week isn't likely to get any easier.
It's a beautiful early autumn morning here at Prado Hall, but there's a black cloud hanging over the house. Mr. Henderson and Mrs. Dobinson are on the warpath.
This morning, Mr. Henderson is cracking the whip as he wants the evacuees downstairs sharpish.
Right, boys, let's go. There's a war on. Work to be done. Come on.
And you can't run or hide from Mrs. Dobinson.
Come on, Jade. As soon as you hear
Come on,
that
boys.
bell ringing, I want you out of bed. Jade, come on. Would you get cracking, please?
During the war, Britons lived in fear of enemy attack, especially after the German bombings began in 1940.
Now, come on.
They haven't had breakfast yet, but there's no time to waste. Mr. Henderson wants the evacuees prepared.
Now, we're in danger. Even though we're in the country, it's still a dangerous place to be. We could be bombed at any time. But what we have to do is to protect our safety and the safety of His Lordship and Her Ladyship. If we were to
And the best way to do that was to build a shelter.
During the war, every house had an indoor air raid shelter. Most had to make do with a purpose-built table with wire mesh around it, known as a Morrison shelter. But in a posh pad like Prado Hall, you had the luxury of a cellar.
But it hasn't been used for years, and it's up to the girls to kit it out.
Right, we need to put that bed, say, along this wall here.
An air raid could go on all night, so they need to be as comfortable as possible.
Think about where you're putting these things.
Oh, those armchairs should do very nicely for the Lord and Lady.
Just think about long R's down here.
Or we need a board game. And we'll need some books.
Good thinking, Sharon. That's entertainment covered.
The jump. Don't you know anything?
These tins will keep hunger at bay.
We have some of those features up there.
But remember, girls, you could be down there a very long time.
We'll definitely need this. Yeah.
Oh, yes, the potty. Nice one, Rachel. You never know when you might get caught short. And it's not just the girls on air raid duty. The Prado Hall estate goes on for miles, so this Anderson shelter outside could be a lifesaver. But to have extra protection from bombs, you needed sandbags.
On the back. Building sandbags is very important because we don't want any debris flying up. So we've got to try our best.
And if this is their best, the enemy could be onto a winner. Come on, Nish, put your back into it.
Sorry. It's okay, it's my fault.
Sandbags should protect the shelter from a bomb blast, so this limp lot could leave the evacuees in danger.
Boys, I'm not happy with the sandbags. If I do that, I want a sandbag full, don't I? So what's the matter with the rest of this? Why is it not filled here?
Because you can't get 3 people carrying one that's full. You can hardly get 3 people carrying one that's half full.
So I've got a good idea. Should we tell the Jerrys not to bomb us because we've only got half-full sandbags?
Yeah.
Wrong answer, Dan.
Come on,
Time
boys,
to start all over again.
Spit and polish, as they say.
The girls, on the other hand, are having no such trouble. They've even got time for a few finishing touches to the indoor shelter.
We're trying to hang up this painting because this will be the only scenery we'll be seeing for a long, long time if we're down here, so...
But it seems our modern girls aren't too good at DIY.
Please don't fall. Ah.
Can we have a look at your handiwork?
They've got all the mod cons. A nice view, a comfortable seating arrangement with atmospheric lighting. And who needs a widescreen telly with this lot?
I think it looks very comfortable down here, girls.
Thank you.
It's almost as good as home. Almost.
1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Come on, faster. Pick it up, pick it up.
Outside, the progress has been slow.
Come on.
Perhaps they need a reminder of how important the shelter is.
There's Jerry planes.
We heard that before.
This is why we're going to be fast and get the shelter ready.
Hey, Jerry planes.
Reconnaissance. Taking photographs. Get down, get down, get down. Get down, down.
Children were safer in the countryside, but there was still a risk of stray bombs.
Right, come on, we better get the shelter finished. Looks like we've got more coming. Come on. Come on.
The fear of an enemy attack has spurred the boys on,
Don't give up, never give up.
and Dan has got into overdrive.
Well done, boys, that's it, that's it. Get your backs into it.
Oh, I was going to get another one. Got quite a bit of a sweat on because I just got a sudden adrenaline rush. I started running and doing everything really quickly.
Keep it going, Dan, fantastic job.
Dan has really stood out from the crowd. Then again, he always does.
I'm Daniel. I may be a giant, but I'm gentle. My height is 5'8". My feet are size 10.5. At school, they call me Tank because army tanks are big. It's just annoying. I want to look like everyone else and I stand out too much, I think. No, I don't like being tall.
Boys, what are you doing in there?
But being big and strong has certainly been an advantage here. Thanks to Dan's renewed efforts, they finished the job in no time.
Jack, you'll have to pull them.
The sandbags were really heavy and they were extremely hard to carry. They felt like something like 10 tons you've got to carry on your back.
I'm feeling absolutely shattered. My feet are aching, my back is aching, my hands are all aching.
I could go upstairs and go to sleep.
It's breakfast, and if the evacuees were expecting a full fry-up after all their hard work, I'm afraid they're going to be sorely disappointed.
The children got kippers this morning, but they're very good for them, so I just hope they appreciate them.
Over the past week, our evacuees have tried all manner of 40s food, and some went down better than others. Pigeon. You either love it or you hate it.
Pigeon pie, that put me off a bit, like pigeon, but I still ate it, it was nice like.
And black pudding certainly caused a stir.
It was pig blood and pig fat. When I found out what was in it, I was like, yeah.
Let's see how they cope with kippers.
Kippers this morning.
Beautiful.
In the 40s, smoked, oily kippers made for a fine breakfast, particularly at a grand house like Prado Hall. Bring back black pudding. At least it doesn't give you the evil eye.
It has eyes.
Every fish has eyes. Eyes are actually the best part of the fish. Sam?
You're having one.
No.
You are having one on your plate. And no arguing.
If you've got the head and tail, you take the head off the fish. Come on, Jade. Just cut his head off.
This kipper malarkey's hard work. They need to skin it and bone it before their first mouthful. That's not what I'd call a mouthful. That's more of a dainty nibble. Sean gets stuck in straight away. Looks like he stuffed the whole fish in there. Jack, that's bread, not kipper. Let's see if anyone else notices. Nope, he seems to have got away with it. But sat next to Mrs. Dobinson, Mary's having no such luck.
You're going to try it, Mary? Mary, I am insisting that you try it.
The pressure's on, and even Jade gives in. But Mary is standing firm. Kippers really aren't her cup of tea.
The fish was just led there, like, still boomed and skinned in front of me, and I was just like, and it stank, like, unbelievably stank.
Mr. Henderson said you could eat the eyeballs, so I ate one of the eyes, and it tasted a little bit weird.
When we had kippers this morning, I felt really sick. Considering we have to drink cod liver oil every morning, and I gag on that, I should have seen that coming, you know, really.
Still, they all give kippers a try, apart from Mary. And in wartime, wasting food just can't go without a punishment.
I expect to see a really good job made of that.
I'm just really angry, and now I'm getting punished just because I didn't eat a bit of fish and I got given more of this. It's pretty ridiculous.
Oh dear. While everyone else enjoys a bit of 1940s playtime, Mary has to clean every downstairs skirting board. A long and wet 45 minutes later, Mary's done the lot. But will her efforts meet with Mrs. Dobinson's high standards?
Well, it all seems clean. Now then, Mary, for the rest of the day, can we see you smiling again, please? All right?
Yeah.
All right, now join the others now, please.
Mary hasn't much to smile about for long. Miss Young is back, and it's time for school. From day one, Miss Young's been a stickler for wartime discipline.
That kind of behaviour is both stupid and frightening.
I'm sorry, Miss Young.
She's taught them all about their great nation.
Let us be proud of it. Let us draw it correctly.
Or at least she tried to.
I'm somewhat devoid of comment.
And she's exercised their bodies as well as their minds.
Touch those toes. If I can do it, you can do it.
But today she wants to work on their moral courage. And what better way than a stirring speech by Shakespeare, Britain's most famous playwright.
Once more unto the breach.
These words were meant to encourage King Henry V's troops. And as Miss Young wants to fill her class with moral fibre, they're going to learn it off by heart.
So it's on for you, sir. Third line.
In peace, there's nothing, so becomes a man.
Now, we'll take off that K and we will say nothing.
Nothing.
This is going to be harder than it looks. Now come on, all together. Not quite there, is it? But it best be, and very soon.
This is homework to learn it. To recite it to me tomorrow.
Word perfect by tomorrow? It sounds tough, but that's what school was like in the 1940s.
You must learn.
I don't think I'm going to learn it in time, and I don't want to get kept behind after class.
I can't remember that stuff, not all of it. I'll probably get up to the first line and then stop.
They might be lacking in courage, but Nish is full of it.
I'm not worried about having to learn it because I've already learnt it. So, yeah.
Pay attention!
478, 479. Prado Hall is apparently home to over 500 sheep. It's now time for our evacuees to get up close and personal with the flock. But of course, well, they've got to catch them first. Right, where was I? 470 something. Oh well, start again.
Herding up the sheep should be a doddle, even for our city slickers. After all, they just stand around eating grass all day, don't they? Oh dear, maybe not. Sheep aren't the cleverest of animals, but so far, they've managed to outwit our evacuees.
We had 50. Then we had 2. Then we had none. Now we have them. And they're running off again.
And with herding techniques like this, it's no wonder. Fortunately, the gamekeeper has a plan B.
We're going to have to get the professional in, I think.
In this case, Prado Hall's shepherd, Mr. Pugh, and Jessie. Time for a lesson in sheep herding.
When you wanted to go away, you go. And when you wanted to come by, you go. And when you wanted to stop, you go.
I'm not sure they got that, Mr. Pugh. the dog seems to understand.
We'll follow them quietly and we'll put them in the pen.
In 2 minutes, Mr. Pugh and Jessie heard the lot. No wonder our evacuees look sheepish.
Are you ready, Mr. Chair?
They're very fast, aren't they?
Cute. They might not be saying that when they find out what's coming next.
Look at that. Excuse me, can I come in now?
Cutting off poo-covered wool, or dagging, as it's known in the trade, is a dirty job. But someone's got to do it.
If they get a fly strike on them, the blowflies hatch out and the maggots are there and eat into the sheep. Could you imagine it? There's 1,000 little maggots all nibbling at his bottom and the stress kills it.
So you can see how important it is today for you to be helping, all right?
And it's have a go Jack at the front of the queue.
Confident? Grab, cut.
Go on,
That's
there's a
it.
sheep there. You've got
Yes, you've got a sheep there. Just go steady. Mind your fingers. That's it. Well done.
Back home, Jack is a regular Dr. Dolittle.
I've gone swimming with dolphins. I've seen dingoes, wallabies. I fed some kangaroos and koalas. Had some exotic parrots. And I'll just basically do anything anyone wants me to, anything extreme.
But cutting poo off a sheep's bottom has been one step too far for Animal Mad Jack.
Overall, I just wish I wouldn't have volunteered. I hate sheep. I hate them.
I wouldn't hate to death.
Awful.
Jack might be regretting getting his hands dirty, but poor Olivia has found something even worse.
There, look there, look there.
Oh my God, the poor thing.
There you are, look.
This sheep has been infected with maggots, and they've got to it just in time.
There.
Now, that's the reason why we have to do it. Look.
There you are, look.
See that?
Oh, it's my turn. You sure there's no more maggots left?
Well, they could be, but they won't bite you.
No, I'm not going to have to go with that. Cutting that off is born.
Well done.
No.
Jade needs to work on her bravery. Big time.
Mary will show you what to do. Just have a go, all right? It's not going to bite.
Luckily, Mary steps in. But it's a decision she might regret.
That is horrible!
What did it do?
It farted in my face!
Well done, well done.
Right, only one more to do. Ready, Jade?
Oh my God! Oh my... No! I'm not doing that! I didn't like to cut the poo off the sheep because I just thought it was filthy and I didn't want to get my hands covered in it and it's not mine to touch, so I didn't want to touch it.
It's been another long day at Prado Hall. I think an early night is needed all round. But before lights out, the boys take one last look at their homework.
Once more, dear friends. Once more.
For most, it's still very much a work in progress.
For there is none of you so mean in haste. Mean and base.
At least they're trying, which is more than can be said for the girls. English homework is the last thing on their minds.
Hello, bye!
And their carry-on hasn't escaped Mrs. Dobinson. Uh-oh, the girls are in for it now.
What on earth is going on in here? The noise out there is absolutely appalling. I should think you are. It's just unnecessary. Now, I suggest you finish today just quietly reciting the piece you've got to perform for Miss Young tomorrow. Start reciting it now.
Once more into the beach, dear friends. Once more, slice the adventure with heart and rage. Cry, God for Harry, England and St. George.
At last, with everyone settled, it's time for a good night's sleep. Or so they think. It's 5 o'clock in the morning and I'm about to sound this air raid siren. As soon as this strikes up, our evacuees will have just seconds to make it down to the cellar.
Come on, boys, quickly. Quickly. Grab a blanket, get your shoes on. Come on, let's go.
Wake up, air raid, air raid.
Quickly.
Everybody out
Grab
of
a
bed,
blanket,
quickly.
get your shoes on.
Put
Come
your
on, let's
shoes
go.
on.
Come on, quickly!
One blanket off your bed, quickly!
In September 1940, the Germans started to bomb Britain in what became known as the Blitz.
Your gas masks, come on, where are your gas masks?
In the corner, wait for me. Grab your blankets, cold. Come on. 1, 2, 3.
Cities were the main targets, but bombings in the countryside weren't unheard of.
Let's go.
Come on. No talking, just get downstairs in an orderly fashion. Quickly.
By 1941, 2 million British homes had been destroyed and 60,000 lives lost. The evacuees will need all their courage now.
Get yourselves warmed. Right, you all get your gas masks.
Now, wrap your blankets round you, please, children. Fast as you can. That's better.
You frightened?
Yes,
Don't worry. We're all together. That's the main thing. Morning, Your Lordship.
Good morning, good morning.
We're all done safely. Boys and girls are all here.
But don't you worry too much. He's a terrible shot, Jerry. He never hit us. So I think we'll be safe enough here.
Would you like to take a seat over here? Thank you. Yeah. This is for Her Ladyship, but she was out for dinner last night and she stayed overnight with friends, so...
I heard the whistles blown and then I realised what was going on. Air raid, so I got out of bed and I felt so frightened. It was very, very scary. I went into a mode where I wasn't thinking logically, my mind just went blank and I just acted my feet and my hands moved by their own accord.
I was laughing with my mate Mary, but it was a bit scary at the same time because you had to hurry up and didn't like it, I didn't want that to happen again.
Would anyone like some tea? We've got some tea down here. To warm these up? Your Lordship, some tea, yes?
I'd certainly like a cup of tea. I think you would too, probably.
Ah yes, even in times of trouble, the only British thing to do is have a cuppa.
You must be congratulated on the way you came down the stairs. You did very well indeed.
Even in a crisis, a butler's job is never done. Now, anyone for breakfast?
What have we got then? We've got jam, we've got some jam.
And there's spam.
Pass me the jam.
There we are.
But the wartime rations aren't to everyone's taste.
I seriously think eating spam at 5 o'clock in the morning shouldn't be allowed.
Murray and Jaden Scott had spam and I wouldn't want to have spam at 5 o'clock in the morning, so must be pretty brave.
One lad who is definitely feeling brave is Sam. After an hour in the damp cellar, nature calls. Although the facilities are a little too close for comfort.
Oh, no, I don't think it's... No, we won't listen to that.
When Sam went for a wee in the cellar, I would have described it as the waterfall.
All right, yes, dear, just leave it there. Don't do anything with it.
Fortunately, the sound of falling water isn't the only thing Mrs. Dobinson hears.
Can we listen? Is that the all clear?
That's the all clear.
Oh!
Come on.
All clear. So that wasn't as long as we thought it was.
But the air raid has given our 21st century evacuees plenty to think about.
Oh, isn't it good to be back up here? Well done.
I can only imagine how the evacuees must have felt when the air raids happened, how afraid they must have been in shock.
On their minds every day that they'll be thinking, if this war ever ends, will my mum and dad still be alive? And they'll be so scared and, worrying about the family all the time. And, I mean, what a horrible experience it must have been for them.
Unto the breach, dear friends. Friends breach. Yesterday, Miss Young set our boys and girls the tricky task of learning Henry V. Let's just hope they've cracked it. Dear breaching friends.
The evacuees were up at 5 a.m. for the early morning air raid, but that doesn't mean they can skive off school. Let's hope they're still feeling brave.
What's the first bit again? You're confusing me. What's the first bit again?
Just hope some people go before you, okay?
No reciting now.
Good morning, class.
Good morning, Miss Young.
Sit. I noticed a palpable silence as you came into this room. Would it be by any chance the silence of fear? We shall this morning be filling the air with the noise of courage and bravery. Williams.
At least that's the plan. Let's see how Sean does first.
Miss Young, may I just have a quick look at the first line, please?
Oh, and he's fallen at the first hurdle.
Upon the break. No, it was in my head just a second ago.
Dan doesn't seem to be doing much better. This task clearly isn't for the faint-hearted.
Upon this charge.
James?
Sorry, Miss Young.
Henry V at Agincourt. Once more unto the breach, dear friends, once more. Or close the walls up with our English dead.
At last, they get into the spirit of things.
As modest stillness and humility. But when the war was last,
At least as much as they can.
of war breath in our ears, then imitate the actions of the tiger. Stiffen the sinews and summon up the blood.
Disguise fair nature with hard favoured rage.
For there is none of you so mean and base, that not noble lustre in your eyes.
I see you stand like
Greyhounds in the slips.
Straining upon the start. The game's afoot. Follow your spirit, and upon this charge cry, for God, Harry, England, and St. George.
That was stirringly said. I'm proud of you. That is the spirit.
Bravo! Even the evacuees that missed the odd line get credit where credit's due.
You certainly tried. I must say, Hitchmer, if you made a face like that on the battlefield, it might very well frighten the enemy. You tried very well indeed. Sit down.
There'll be no detentions today. The evacuees are off the hook.
I think I've done my best, really. And I was, looking at it, she was going, you could kill someone in war with that face. I mean, even doing nothing. Was I pulling a face?
Yeah.
You were, you're like
that. All the way through.